What's up, guys? Mike the Cop here. Self quarantined edition. Don't worry if you see this later and it's not live. The questions aren't going to change and my answers aren't going to change because it's a Q&A. I'm just going to do it live here. So I'm going to my channel on my computer as well, your channel, and that way I can see.
That way.
Oh my gosh, let's block that out. That's not good. That way I can look at the questions on the screen as well. So I'm not really self quarantining, to be honest with you. I do have to go to work at my job, as my police job. We have made some pretty radical changes in terms of there are no traffic stops, and that excludes, obviously, like if we're out and we see someone dangerously driving, like operating while intoxicated, that kind of a thing. Obviously, you have to deal with that. We don't respond in person to any crimes that aren't violent in nature. In other words, basically, we're not going by people unless we have to. That's kind of how police work has changed. And you know what? Maybe it'll actually help change that for the future and realize, we send cops to a lot of stupid stuff that is a big waste of resources because that's actually true. Anyway, here we are. It's Saturday afternoon. I'm still drinking coffee. I slept in. I don't think I got up till like 10:03 or something ridiculous. So I slept in. I made some coffee, and then what did I do? Oh, I watched a show called Ugly Delicious Season 2. I watched one on steaks. Fascinating stuff. So that's been my day. I just been browsing the internet and thought, you know what? I haven't been live on YouTube in a long time. Somebody says it is Black Rifle Coffee in here. Yes, it is. Oh man, goat something or other. It's a special blend. Hold on. Oh, Jeff Tapper, thank you for the super chat, my man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna come back. Keep on moving, Mike. I got your 6. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Let me go get the coffee. I'll show you what it is. I don't remember what the name of it is. Where is it? Dang it. Oh, here we go. I found it. Don't worry. All right. Escape Goat. That's what it is. I'm on the subscription, right? I get 2 bags a month, and then I upgraded to the special subscription, so it comes in a separate box and like a special like wax sealed note kind of thing, whatever, blah blah. And so I got this. And the funny thing is I literally emailed Black Rifle because I was like, hey, I didn't get my special subscription. They're like, well, we sent it, but I moved and the post office was still sending stuff to my old address. And we had actually put this flyer out in our neighborhood, basically giving our address, my phone number, saying, hey, if you need anything, if you're shut in and you can't get food and maybe you need to borrow some toilet paper or something, like whatever, let us know. And the guy that bought my old house was like, hey, I have some stuff, dropped it off this morning. And so it was like a cool gift to wake up to, coffee. Anyway, so that is it good coffee? Yeah, it's actually awesome. Ms. Yum Yum 14, are the police preparing for martial law? That's an interesting question. Let's start there. First of all, no, we're not. So there's a couple of reasons we're not. And a lot of people think martial law is coming. I do not believe that it is coming. A high-ranking general in the National Guard has said it's not coming. The National Guard has been mobilized in several states for the purpose of getting food to people and supplies to people and helping to mitigate some of that stuff. But that's kind of like their role, right? They go to national disasters when states of emergency are declared. The National Guard is rolled out for a service role, not an enforcement role. So as of right now, there are no states in which the National Guard is enforcing anything. Please be careful of what you read on the internet. It doesn't mean it's real. The second reason is that the police are not preparing for martial law is that the police, your local police, don't have anything to do with martial law. Okay, that's it's. I don't. Maybe it's a perception, etc. I don't know, but the point is, local police would have nothing to do with martial law because we are not the federal government. We don't enforce martial law. So China, the China virus. It's from what? It's because it's from China. China. Big shocker. People eat bats and we get sick. I don't know. Whatever. Who knows? So the martial law question. The martial law question. One, I don't think martial law is coming. Two, the local police would not be the ones that are preparing for that. Even if it was. Even if martial law was going to be a thing, it has nothing to do with me. Would the police be notified of martial law? Well, it would be everybody would be notified. if if martial law is something that was a thing, that we'd be notified like everybody else. There's no special notification. What crimes do I think should be punishable by death? I believe any crime that causes death with intentionality, if found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, the death penalty should be on the table. That's what I think. Is there going to be a purge? I think that was supposed to be last night, right? The movie The Purge. Wasn't it dated 3/21/20? So it should be now. It should be going on. But I have my windows open. It's like in the 50s. It's sunny here in Metro Detroit, and I'm enjoying the breeze. What's my rank? Patrolman. I don't have a special rank. Somebody keeps asking about the nicest criminal I've met. I wouldn't know how to describe them. I mean, like I mean, technically anybody who's broken the law is a criminal, right? So, I don't know. I've had lots of cool conversations with normal people. Normal people make mistakes, you know? I don't know. Patrick Johnson, thank you for the super chat. What will you do when Democrat politicians tell you to come take my guns? Well, I hope that it doesn't come to that, first of all. I really don't. Second, I've never enforced a gun law, and I never will enforce a gun law. So that's that for me. If I was told I had to go confiscate someone's gun in an unconstitutional way, well, then I don't do it. I just turn in my badge and gun and go home. It's pretty simple for me. Fiddles59, thank you for the super chat. For all you do at Officer 401, put police in a positive light. How's COVID-19 affecting Michigan? Here in PA, most everything is closed. We don't really have a lot closed, really. Some places have chosen to. I think like Dick's Sporting Goods nationally closed its stores for 2 weeks. So the Dick's Sporting Goods in town and all that stuff, like it's closed. But for the most part, all of the restaurants and bars, they have carry-out stuff available. So we're trying to kind of support local and that sort of a thing. So it's not all shut down. I mean, traffic's flowing by. I mean, people are out and doing it things. Then just keep the distance, you know? So, would you threw a full egg inside? I don't even know what that means. My regular patrol car right now is a Ford Explorer right now. So your illegal full autos are okay around Mike? Pass the word. Yeah, I don't care about if you have a full auto. I don't care if you drive a tank, dude. I really don't care. To me, the Constitution is clear, and if we were to have constitutional... Now, again, you guys can't forget that the Constitution is also built in to the Constitution is the idea that the system of government we have, in which the Supreme Court interprets laws. So it's a little bit more complex than just saying, like, I get to decide what the Constitution means or says, but I do believe that any gun law is an infringement upon rights. Where did I get this? A buddy of mine, Chris, made this locally from pallet wood. All right. If anybody, oh, Crackling, $1.99. How do I become a sovereign citizen? You just set your intelligence aside and you're off to the races. That's the first step. I'm in Wayne County, Miles. Miles wants to know if I live in Oakland or Wayne County. I'm in Wayne County. Could I imagine patrolling without a firearm like you guys do in England? No, that would be retarded. I think it's stupid in England, and I think it's stupid here. So I think it's dumb. Do I think the coronavirus was a scare tactic? No, I don't. I don't. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Here's what I believe, though. I believe that things like this happen and everyone works it to their advantage or disadvantage. That's what I believe. That we have the situation and people's reactions to it are based on their inherent biases or non-biases. So do I believe that people are trying to politically position themselves as a result of the virus? Yes. Does that maybe have an impact on the reactions that we're being told that we should have or shouldn't have to this virus or how we're handling it? Yes, I believe that. Do I believe that our government unleashed this virus on us to attempt to control us more? No, I would not make that assertion because I don't really believe in conspiracy theories at that level. I I just don't think our government is that smart, to be honest with you. Ray Gonzalez says, I've heard some local law enforcement agencies are telling officers not to perform traffic stops. What are your thoughts? Ray, when I first started the live stream, I mentioned that was a change that was in my department. I haven't seen it universally applied here in the Metro Detroit area, but I do know a lot of departments have basically suspended all unnecessary traffic stops and police encounters to reduce interaction with the public. Mike, a question. Would you put someone in your car if they were violently coughing today? Ghost Shadow, again, asked Mike a question. Would you put someone in your car if they were violently coughing today? By temporary policy at my department, for example, unless they were convicted of a violent crime, or I shouldn't, that's the wrong terminology. Unless they were being arrested for a violent crime, not convicted. I'm not a court. Unless they were being arrested for a violent crime, then no, I would not put them in my car, but that's by policy, okay? Because our jail isn't taking people that would be ill. So we would have to possibly send them to the hospital or something if they had robbed a bank or, hurt someone, that kind of thing. So, circumstantially, maybe, but not as a standard course of action. Christina Sash, hi, Mike. Good to see you. Stay safe. Thank you for the super chat, and I appreciate the sentiment, Christina. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. In PA, they will enforce fines for businesses that do not close. Do you agree with that? Mr. Yum Yum asks. You know what? I don't know. I don't know. The thing is, when you open up a business, you agree to abide by certain rules. You're basically agreeing to something. So you've entered into an agreement with the state when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm a little bit mixed emotions on this because I'm a big freedom guy. But the thing is about freedom, and this is the interesting conversation to have. Whoa, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully I'm still alive. I got a phone call and I forgot to turn off notifications. Okay. I'm going to go back to these questions. But the question about freedom is this. Is staying open your choice? Yes. But if by staying open and encouraging business, you are then eliminating other people's freedom to be free from people passing this when it's known to be highly communicable, are you infringing on the freedoms of others? It's an interesting debate. I don't know. It's something that it's causing me to think a lot. Israel Shirk, thank you for the super chat. I'm K9 SAR, Super Pro. I'm not sure what that means, but Super Pro law enforcement dealing with ag assault, witness, physical evidence, body cam, pulled records initially, connected guy. PD retaliation, records gone and IA shut down as favor. Ideas? Israel, I appreciate the super chat, first of all. Quite honestly, I don't know what you're asking. I'm really not sure what that is. But if you super chat, appreciate that. Email me at mike@mikethecop.tv, and maybe I can have a little bit of a more in-depth conversation. Osbaldo, 40 Smith & Wesson versus 9mm for duty carry. 9mm all day. I hate the 40 caliber. 40 caliber is a joke. I'm not saying it's a joke in terms of if it hits you, I want to get hit by a 40 caliber. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's a stupid round. Okay, it's pointless. 9mm come a long way. It's good. Mario Lopez, thank you so much for the super chat. First of all, I am a safety and security officer at a hospital in Washington State. The number of people coming in because they think they have it is overwhelming. We have locked down our hospital as well. Everyone is getting screened before entering. Mario, thank you so much for the super chat. Totally unnecessary. I sincerely appreciate it. I have talked to several of my friends that are in the medical field. They all say what you're saying, Mario, which is that the problem overwhelming our hospital system right now are people who are freaking out and demanding to be tested and coming in, and they're asymptomatic. And that is putting more of a stress on our system right now than people with coronavirus. I have heard the same things. So hang in there, man. I appreciate you if you're working at the hospitals, especially if you're nurses, doctors, medical staff in places. Kudos to you. Thank you so much for your work. My YouTube, super chat. Mike, I live up in Romeo. If shit goes sideways, you're welcome to come to the country with my family. Thanks, my YouTube. I will remember that. Appreciate it. Hopefully it doesn't go sideways. How do you deal with the possibility that you could deal with an infected person, Nathan says. Well, my goodness, man. I mean, like, I keep things in perspective. We have to put the coronavirus in perspective. Remember the swine flu? 2009. Over 12,000 Americans died. We are nowhere near that right now. And I'd like to think that our response to this is in response to what we learned from 12,000 people dying, that we should have done more faster then, so we're doing it now. I'd like to think that that's what's happening. And the flu, obviously, is a massive killer of people who are vulnerable. And I think we treat this pretty much like an aggressive flu and understand that this is a reminder that there are dangerous viruses out there. We need to be clean. We need to be conscious. And this is like kindergarten stuff. And I bank on the fact that I have a good immune system. I'm healthy. And so whatever comes, you know. And I trust Jesus, man, to be honest with you. Whatever. If I die, I die. I have Asperger's. Tapio Alatado says, easily read body language wrong, could get violent if I got mad. How do I avoid that type of situation with cops? Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. I would say if you shouldn't be in a negative situation with cops where your body language and you being mad at the same time are an issue with cops. So avoid those situations, obviously. And I don't know. Usually that stuff's pretty obvious to cops. So hopefully they read the situation well, but hopefully you're not in those situations. Jeremy Hogg, thank you for the super chat. Greetings from Ontario. How would you say mental health support has changed for Leos over the year? I would say, so part of the response in the law enforcement community, a lot of you guys know that I'm part of starting a national nonprofit called Call for Backup. We have our ABCs: address the issue, like acknowledge it, build trust with departments and first responders, and change the culture. And I really believe that we have, every few months, we have a new resource coming online. And it's becoming less and less of a stigma to talk about it. And we're just changing the culture. So I'm seeing a change. So great question. Something very important. Noah Grove, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Mike, big fan and future Leo. If it weren't for this stupid virus, my cadet interview with my local PD would have happened by now. Any tip for cadet police interviews while we wait this out? I mean, the main tip is be yourself and always just be honest, no matter what the question is. No matter what the question is. If they ask, would you give a tip to your mom, and you wouldn't, say no and give your reasons. If you would, say yes, give your reasons. Be yourself and be honest, because that way if your answers jive with their desires, then it's a good match. If not, then you're gonna have a stressful career anyway. So that's my thought. Do police officers in your department racially profile? No, Ms. Yum Yum, they do not. Ian Aldridge says, is it legal for me to own a long-range ballistic thermonuclear missile? That depends on where you're at. I would probably say there's a law against it, but I don't think it should be. I think you should be able to have it. But if you can make a thermonuclear missile and have it, good for you. Do I carry a tourniquet on my duty belt? No, not on my belt, but we have that supply with a car. A question. Why cops be touching my car upon approach? Most asked question. I've actually done a video on that, Woody. I don't think most cops touch the car. Some do, but most don't. And it's stupid. Eric Scott, $1 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate that, Eric. Todd47, thank you for the super chat. What's your stance on citing or not citing fellow Leos on traffic stops for moving violations? Multi-layered answer to that. Number one is my warning rate is like plus 95%, has to be, for most people that I pull over. Okay, if I pull somebody over for a traffic violation, I almost never, ever, ever give a ticket, because I don't believe that most of the time that is what is necessary to help change the behavior. When it comes to law enforcement officers, the same thing is true. It's a conversation, and worst case scenario, I would just talk to their boss before giving them a ticket, because you would have access to that, and that would get them in a lot more issues than a ticket. So to me, tickets aren't really the solution in most cases, let alone for cops. It's not the solution. All right, Quest Van Vegel, thank you for the super chat. Would you experience as an EMT paramedic give me an edge as a candidate for a Leo agency working under pressure on him? Yeah, I would say that it certainly doesn't hurt, Quest, to have experience that translates into law enforcement for sure. I think it would be a plus. Matt Nill, any police trained on how to accommodate people with disabilities? I don't know that. I mean, I'm sure that there are special classes for different disabilities and dealing with them. I remember it basically being addressed in the academy, but I mean, in the field, we get that training. Like you talk to a deaf person or you talk to someone with handicaps. I think it's generally a human desire to sort of understand and help. So I don't know. Ongoing trainings probably exist all over the place for dealing with special disabilities. Robert O'Brien, Mike, glad to hear your fellow believer got you on my prayer list, brother. Thank you, Robert. I sincerely appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than thank you, and I appreciate that. Obviously, you guys are flying with questions. Do I have a rifle or shotgun inside my car? I'm assuming you mean my patrol car. Yes, I have a rifle and a shotgun as well. Most Leos start in jail, really? No, a lot of county officers that are usually responsible for jails start in the jail, but I wouldn't know that I wouldn't say that most of them, most cops. What type of uniform style do you prefer? Vest style or uniform or belt? I wear a hybrid uniform. So I have Class B stitching on a Class A uniform because it's lightest. It feels lighter. It's not as durable, but it feels more comfortable and breathes better in the summer. What I would prefer are khaki pants and polos with traditional gun belt or whatever. I think that would be sufficient. Khaki pants, gun belt with some type of vest that identifies you as a police officer, and you'd be good to go. I think that the dress uniform really isn't super practical, and so that would be my preference. If I was the chief of police somewhere, I would go to a like a BDU type pant that allows for the type of equipment and stuff that we need as officers, you know, and have a nice polo shirt with the emblem, you know, your badge on or whatever. You could wear a vest underneath it with stuff on your hip, or you could wear the outer vest. For me, both options are fine. and put the patch on the polo shirt and chill out a little bit. Keep it uniform. I think it's important for people to be able to distinguish in their community who the cops are. I think that's valuable. But I really don't think the old school uniform is super sensible. Someone did a super chat here. I'm going back to address Matt B, $10 super chat. Thank you. I want to be a police officer when I'm older, but have had run-ins with police when I was a teen for being suspicious. Still possible? How comprehensive will the background check be, and will they see that? The background check will be comprehensive. What they will see or not see depends on what's on record and what's not on record, honestly, or how deep they dig and how they dig. It could come up, it might not. But learning lessons is something that is super valuable for police officers. I think some of the best police officers are people that have struggled with problems in the past, to be honest with you, because they're able to better relate to people they're coming in contact with, to be honest with you. So the Gulf War Airsofter, thank you for the super chat. How do police react when dirt bikers ride away from them? I ride often and watch mixed videos. In my feed is always vids of people running from cops. How do cops honestly react to this? Well, how do you? I don't chase motorcycles. I think it's dangerous. I don't chase most people unless it's really necessary, because it's just dangerous for me, for them, for the community. That's my take. I don't think that we should outlaw police chases or anything like that. But, I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid for them to run. I mean, I think they're turds for doing it, but whatever. Tapio, funny one now. Most of the time I'm laid back and polite. I'd even ask a cop for permission if I could run away. So, Mike, may I? Yeah, sure. Have fun. Take off. I don't like to run, honestly. Torfin, do you hold corrections to the same respect levels you do patrolmen? I think it's a silly question, to be honest with you, Torfin, or Thorfinn, however you pronounce it. I think that's a silly question. I actually think that a lot of times I get corrections officers that ask me that. Do you think we're part of the thin blue line? Why, blah. I think that is a question that comes from a high level of insecurity. Be proud of what you do. I don't know what the comparison game is that exists between that people ask about, or I don't even see it really in real life. Well, it's a different job. I don't have any less respect for them. I don't have extra respect. I respect them for what they do. It is what it is. I don't know how to describe it other than that. So I treat them like people, and I don't really find value in holding someone in a higher regard than others, my cops included. It is what it is. Ghost 2.0, thank you for the super chat. Interview Hillary Clinton or Trump? That's an interesting question. I'd love to get a chance to interview both. I don't feel that either one of them would be fully transparent. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Because the tough questions, neither one of them would really answer. I don't think. I'm not a huge fan of either as a personality. Policy-wise, I would agree more with Trump, but what percentage, Dylan says, would keep their oath to the Constitution in the event of politicians enact unconstitutional laws? I'd like to think that it's a lot. I'd also like to think that there would be a flood of the market of people who are retards that are SJW types that would then jump at the chance to be an officer and enforce things that they would love to enforce upon people, even though it's inherently self-contradictory. How often do you deal with Karens? Often enough, I guess. Joao Victor Cerqueira. I don't know how you... Greetings from Brazil. Boa tarde. Boa tarde. Boa tarde. Boa... Welcome. If you were the sheriff of your department, what policies and changes would you enact? It's an interesting question. I already talked about uniform changes. Schedule changes may be in order to keep people healthy, encouraging better training for defensive tactics and physical standards. I would implement a physical standard for my department internally. That would be something I would do. I would look at all the policies and say what doesn't make sense and what does, and boom, make the changes. Mike, what would you advise someone who has used a firearm in self-defense? If you have called the police, make sure that you identify, I have used my weapon, And if it's possible, I would set the weapon down. I would be unarmed. I wouldn't be holding the weapon anymore. And I would also not answer any questions. To be honest with you, this is advice for me. I'm not a lawyer. I'm putting myself in the average Joe's shoes. And I'll tell you right now, if a police officer gets involved in a shooting, the advice is not to talk to your commanders, not to talk to anybody, to get your union representation, get an attorney, handle it that way. I would recommend anybody that's involved in a use of force, civilian or not, and we're all civilians, but police officers or not, I would recommend calling the police. Obviously, you just shot someone. I would do that if aid needs to be rendered, etc. I would set the gun down if possible. Now, if the threat is still alive, then you may not be able to be in a position to do that. I would get to safety. I'd secure the weapon so that your hands are visible, that there's no confusion. I would describe yourself, what you're wearing, and be as visible as possible and as safe as possible with the officers responding so there's no confusion. And I would say nothing. I would be waiting to get an attorney. And to be honest with you guys, I have seen self-defense situations where people were killed, that were getting mugged or robbed, their home broken into, and I have never seen someone that got arrested for that. It's always been the interview's done and they're released. That's it. All right, coming back. Ryan, keep rocking Tales of Valor. Thank you, Ryan Abernathy, for reminding me about that. I do have a podcast called Tales of Valor with my buddy Dave, where we talk about history and we share stories of people that have done cool stuff in history. So give it a listen if you're quarantined and want something to listen to. I'm catching up on Super Chats here. Cracklin, how does leadership feel about your channel? As a federal employee, it would be hard to run a channel without being an issue. My agency's fine with it. And if they weren't, I would quit. Nate Peterson, in Utah, we have a huge shortage of Leos. I'm guessing it's countrywide. Do you think we can do to encourage more people to get into it? I think that we need to, the pendulum is going to have to swing back the other way, because why would someone do this job for $18 an hour to start or whatever? In some places, $12 or $14 an hour in the country. Why? I mean, why? You're scrutinized heavily, and contrary to public perception, we are super, super over scrutinized. Why would you do it? Too much risk, too much liability. It's tough. The pendulum has to swing. Margaret Thexton, how reflective of real life are all those reality cop shows? They're good teaching tools. Well, I mean, if it's reality, then it's real life. I guess live PD is live, so it's real. Seth Taylor, do you but TV shows are not real. Seth Taylor, do you think you'd have enjoyed being a trooper over a local police? I was a police officer in PA. I don't think I would have enjoyed it. I'm not a huge traffic guy. But some places in Michigan, like the troopers, are the primary responders. So I don't know. I'm not a huge traffic person. All right, how long have we been going? Oh, 33 minutes. I'm just making sure we're not going too long. I have not broken. How can I fix it? That doesn't make any sense. Been going so long, my coffee got cold. But how you know you got good coffee is if it still tastes good cold. And that's actually pretty good. That's good. Oh, Todd 47. Trying to keep up here. Yes, I'm a real cop. David's videos. Todd 47, thank you for the chat. A lot of activists feel that Leos don't employ enough de-escalation tactics in most videos when dealing with aggressive subjects. Thoughts? I would say this. I've said this on many videos, and this is my response on this. First of all, don't be the person that lives like this, and it has two sides. Side one is, if I've seen it on the internet, that must be how it normally goes. That's thing number one. Don't be like that. Or side number two is, if I haven't seen it on the internet, it can't be happening. It can't be true. You got to prove it with videos on the internet. Living that way is mindless. It's ignorant. And that's how a lot of people live their lives, not just on police issues, on all sorts of social issues. That is terribly ignorant. A terribly ignorant way to live. Because a sliver of videos that do exist doesn't mean that's the rule. That doesn't mean that's the norm. And videos that don't exist don't mean that situations haven't really happened. It's ridiculous. Most police situations are never on the internet. So the fact that some are and people judge a whole thing by that is terrible. That's why I do what I do, to try to bring some type of objectivity to it. Psychotic Nate, I support everything you're doing for the boys in blue. I go to the same church as you in Michigan. Well, Psychotic Nate, if you do, I'm happy to say what church that is. It's 242 Community Church. It's it's all over the place. There's 7 campuses in Metro Detroit. I go to the Taylor campus because that's where I go. But 242, so if you were in Metro Detroit and you're looking for a place of worship, right now, obviously, we're not doing that, but it's online. So if you look up 242community.com, I think is it, you can watch live services. So there you go. Thanks, Psychotic Nate. When you're hired as a police officer and succeed through FTO, when is it recommended to take a day or 2 off every few months? Well, hopefully there's off days in the schedule. I use all my off days, man. As often as I can. As often as you possibly can. Take time off. I don't know. Enjoy your time off. Gustavo, thank you for the super chat. I don't know where you're from, but hi, Mike. Your perspective on public safety would help our cause a lot. If you ever manage to come time for a quick conference with a few pro-gun personalities from Brazil, could we do it? Thanks. Maybe for a quick conference. I don't know. Do you mean like a video or whatever? I don't know. Gustavo, sure. Email me, mike@mikethecop.tv, and let's chat. Thanks. Despta Doodle, thank you for the super chat. Would you ever do a collab with Angry Cops? We have collabed, so yes, I would, and yes, I will. So, yeah. Yes, like a video, Gustavo. Yeah, let's figure it out. Email me. Do the courses you take in high school really matter to becoming a police officer? Trying to work up into the detective environment. I suppose it depends on the course in high school. Typical high school study, there's nothing particular to law enforcement that I know of. At least not when I was in school, not what my kids are doing, so I don't know. Cody's vlog says, wouldn't let me type the rest of it, but I just been having a hard time. Wanted to say thank you. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Cody's, and I hope that whatever it is that you're going through passes soon, and keep your head up, man. My thoughts on Jeffrey Epstein? I don't know, man. Crazy times. I said I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but who knows? Are you doing any vids with Officer 401? You know what I should do for quarantine is I should do just chats with fellow YouTubers. The quarantine series. I've been thinking about what can I do this week, and maybe that's it. Maybe get with these guys and do some collabs. Why do cops put some people on the floor despite the lack of aggression? Well, Tyler, I would suppose that's really situationally dependent. Ella Isa Logan, thank you for the super chat. Norwegian nurse here. Do you wear face masks and eye protection for work? Please be safe out there. We have some, if we had to. I don't wear it as a standard course of action. Thoughts on Oakland County Sheriff's Office trying to rush corrections officers out into the street in lieu of Oakland County Sheriff Department's getting and using the 80-hour sick leave. I don't know about that situation, Cody, so I don't feel like I can comment on it because I'm completely ignorant of it. I'm not aware of that going on, so I'm not sure. Yeah, Donut. Maybe Donut and I will have a little chat. He's a busy dude. Who would you rather quarantine with, Donut Operator or Angry Cops? You know, maybe we should get them all. We should get all together and do quarantined bingo or something. I'm gonna text Donut right after this and ask him what we can do this week. That'd be fun. Mike, which would you rather be if you chose, FBI or U.S. Marshal? U.S. Marshal 100%, because the idea of hunting people sounds really fun. Hey, Mike, I'm pro cop, but in New York, I saw that 2 cops planted weed and didn't get suspended. And I hear this a lot. I don't know how you hear that a lot. I would challenge that idea. Maybe you hear it a lot somewhere. I don't think you hear that a lot. And I don't know the situation. I can look into it. If cops were caught planting weed, they would be fired. You can't. The idea that they just went unpunished is silly. I can't believe that. So if you know the situation, email me mike@mikethecop.tv, and I will look into it. Looking for content anyway. So when will I get a rainbow gun? One of these days. Chauncey, thanks so much. Says, "You are the man, Mike. Thank you for your service." I appreciate that. Too kind. Thank you. Why do I not like the 40? It's a poppy round. I don't think it's as accurate of a round out of the box. It was made, I think, to just create purchase in the market. It serves no point. I don't like shooting it. I feel like I'm not as accurate with it. Maybe others are accurate with it. I don't know, but I do. I prefer either a 45 or a 9. Both of them are great rounds. The 9 has made a lot of advancements over the last few years, and you can just get more rounds downrange. And really, the name for defense is rounds downrange. And if you have more and you can carry more, then I think it's just a better alternative. So I switched from 45 to 9 a couple of years ago just for that reason. 357 SIG. I know some people carry it. I don't have a lot of experience with 357 SIG. A lot of people like it. I don't have a ton of experience with it. New York cops get away with murder. Ms. Yum Yum, I don't know, man. That's a little extreme. Sounds like you're spending too much time on the internet, man. Stuck above the Arctic Circle. That sucks, Ghost Shadow. Ugh. I hate what this is doing to some people, man. Economics is going to be rough. Semi or full auto guns? I prefer semi-auto. Full auto have their reasons in real world application. Mostly it would be battle. I don't see a lot of practical uses for full auto for law enforcement, even for it's even not as broadly applicable in military as I think people think it is. Have me and High Impact Vlogs spoken to each other recently? No, we have not. Derek, have you ever witnessed police corruption? Do you have any good story about the whole police department being corrupt? What would you do if you found out your whole department was corrupt? Entire department corruption would be in only small pockets. I've never seen it. I have seen officers violate ethics or law, and in every case, I have seen them caught, disciplined, and or fired, and or charged. So I've seen the system working. Guys, cops are so scrutinized, dude. You have no idea. A lot of people are under the impression that cops can get away with stuff easier. It's the exact opposite. At work, I have a body cam. Every time I'm interacting with someone, it's on, or I get in trouble. My car has geotagging on it. Where I go, it's tracked. I mean, every word I say to someone is recorded. So it's every search that I do on a computer is recorded. And a district attorney's office is going to scrutinize an officer way more. So the perception that cops get away with more is so asinine because it is not real. Jay Jones, I've always wanted to be an officer because of my family since I was little, but my fam says it's so different now, so I'm a little skeptical. I think you have to answer that question for yourself. We need good cops. We need people who are doing it for the right reasons. And so if it's in your gut that you got to do it, do it. If it's not, don't. Cody's Vlogs, thank you for being yourself. I appreciate that, Cody. Thank you for being you. Sorry, you guys are... The comments are freaking flying, so thank you. I'm trying to keep up. What supplemental firearms do you carry in your PC? I have just a standard Remington shotgun and an AR-15. I can bring my own. I have thoughts on black people. I love Mike the Cop. Okay. There are people like everybody else that are black. I don't know. Did I ever consider being a probation officer? No, I did not. How do you become a homicide detective? I've heard that officers that even have 5 years, you have to have a lot of experience. That's how you become a homicide detective. Becoming a detective in different departments has different standards. Sometimes it is by seniority, sometimes it is by testing, so sometimes it is by interview. It varies, but usually homicide detectives, as the more serious crimes, require the most serious training and time on the job. I love how Mike the Cop is a great serious cop who is also funny. Thank you, Jordan. That means a lot to me, actually. I try to kind of walk that line and be both. I try to be myself. So I'm sarcastic and like to laugh. So I try to be that while talking about real things. What do I think of Australian cops? I think they're great, mate. I don't know. I don't personally know any. I've talked to some on the internet. They seem great. I don't know how to Dougie, no. Hi, being a cop, do you feel uneasy knowing that ammo and guns are flying off the shelves? No, I don't. I support everyone's right to own and bear arms, man. Doesn't make me nervous at all. The more guns, the better. The more guns in the hands of good people, the better. I personally don't trust an officer till I know them. Oh, okay. Who's the toughest cop you met? I don't even know what that means. What would count as toughness? What do you think about the state asking gun stores to close? I think it's stupid. Next president? Oh, this virus thing is going to be, who knows? I was going to say Trump, but who knows now? I don't know. Hi, Mike. Why do they allow single crewing? How can that be safe? One officer approaching car with 2 armed drug dealers if I was police chief. It comes down to finances, Dean. It's not always easy to staff things. Staffing for police agencies comes from primarily property taxes of the people in the community where the police are at. And you can't get blood from a rock, right? So it is what it is. And do you want to go safe, or do you want to extra safe, or do you want to go extra coverage? More visibility. There's different schools of thoughts. Probably my favorite approach is allowing officers to make that choice for themselves. Chance, hold that blue line. My uncle and brother and I are cops. I support any one of you that puts a badge on and takes that responsibility. Chance, thank you so much, man. Stay safe out there. Appreciate the super chat. Do I think police chiefs should be voted in like sheriffs? Not all sheriffs. Also, people should know this. Some sheriff's departments are voted, some are appointed. So you have sheriff departments and you have sheriff offices, office of the sheriff. So it's not universal. It is more common for them to be voted in. But no, I hate politics, how it already impacts the police world. So I don't think I'm sold on either one being the optimal. It is what it is. I think it comes down to the character of the person. Have I ever done a desk pop? No, I haven't. What do you think about Walmart stopping people at the door to check receipts? That's a weird question. I think that Walmart can do whatever they want. They're a private company. Do whatever they want. I just said Joe Biden versus Trump, and you asked a couple times, but I don't know. I would tend to think that Trump's going to stay in office. So you won't even acknowledge that 2 people were murdered in their home on Harding Street by a team led by a crooked cop, huh? Rick, I don't know what you're talking about. And obviously there's hundreds of comments going. The fact that I just saw yours doesn't mean anything. I just saw it, I read it, and I don't know what you're talking about. And the thing about crooked cops or bad cops is they exist. I've never denied that. In fact, I've come out against many of them. I've criticized police chiefs. I've criticized individual officers for their crookedness or their bad decision making. The fact that bad cops exist isn't a shocker to anybody with a brain. But is it the problem that people want to make it out to be? No, it's not. That's ridiculous. And if you think that it is, that's a problem of your intelligence, not mine. I do not know sign language, Dorothy. I'm a crooked cop if I don't hit the whoa. I don't even know what that is. Anna, what's the whoa? How do I hit the whoa? My daughter's hanging her head in shame right now. I don't know. Thoughts on body cams? They're fine. Isaac says, I want to be a cop. Any suggestions? Thanks for the chat. Do good in school and figure out where you want to work and find out what the requirements are, and then go get those requirements done and be ready to rock. All right. We've been going 50 minutes. I said I'd go up to an hour here in my head to myself. So most of these YouTube cops are part-time with minimal training. What YouTube cops? Most of these YouTube cops are part-time with minimal training. I don't know what you're talking about. Boosty Malaka. I don't know who you're talking about. I've been a cop since 2009. So if you're talking about me, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. What would you rather be if you had to choose, SWAT team or U.S. Marshals? U.S. Marshal, man. I don't have any desire to do SWAT stuff, honestly. You looked like Michael Chiklis on The Shield, but not. And you're more. I love The Shield, dude. It's one of the best cop shows ever. I love it. Is hospital security a good stepping stone? It can be, sure. Favorite music genre would have to be rock. My favorite police cruiser has been the Crown Vic. Is it true? Did you go to a 6-month full-time police academy? It's true. Did you go to a 6? It's not true. Boosty Malaka? What are you talking about? I went to a full-time police academy. You're crazy, man. Oh my gosh. What's my address? Okay. Chicago PD or NYPD Blue? Which show would you choose? Oh, NYPD Blue, hands down. I don't have a favorite. I couldn't tell you one person on the Red Wings. I don't know. I'm watching these comments. I've already answered the question. Some of these questions, if I've already answered them, I was not trained by the IDF. Is it true you took an online course to be a cop? Yes, that's how I became a cop. All right, thank you guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. How come it takes 30 days for a ticket to go through? Bruce Lee, I have no idea what you're talking about. 30 days for a ticket to go through. How tickets are processed is different all over the place. So I don't know. ICUP. Spell ICUP. Hiram Bifidum. Hey, long time, man. Thank you for the super chat. Police in New Jersey are not enforcing statewide curfew. Hopefully you and the people you care about are okay. Avoiding P-71s and Commodores is not easy. I don't know what that means, but cool. Yeah, I'm not. Cops aren't enforcing any curfews that I know of. Had to stage and wait for all clear from EMS yet? Many times. Derek says, thank you, sir. Appreciate the super chat. Guys, I'm out. Thanks for hanging out with me. We've been here for almost an hour together answering questions. And hopefully you feel like it was worth your time, and it's worth the time of anybody that watches this video later. With that, I am out of here.